My name is Anoriell, and welcome to my channel. Here we do reactions, mostly on BL and GL content, and mostly from Asian countries. Today we interrupt the regular programming with a little bit of we need to talk about Cherry Magic. Because I see a lot of speculation, and I see a lot of things going around, and I'm like, no, this is not how the world works, people. So I thought, okay, it's not a lot of times my regular kind of ish 9 to 5 job intersects with my BL world, but here we are. So we're gonna talk about it. So if you don't know, if you're new here or if you missed any of my videos where we talk about this, I work in a lawyerish job. I am not a lawyer, first of all. I have read law in school. Yeah. I've taken almost a year of classes in different courses, but I don't have a law degree. And there is a difference. My degree is in political science, sociology, and cultural science, and law. But it's not a pure law degree. So I can't give you legal advice. This is not a legal advice. But I do know a bit about law, and I do know a bit about contract law because that's kind of what I work with. I work with a specific law in Europe called the GDPR. If you're interested, you can Google it. It is very specific. It's about privacy on the internet, which is ironic because I have a YouTube channel. And there is a whole can of worms you can open up with that because I shouldn't, because FISA 702 and whew, hello NSA. Yeah, I am well aware of what I'm doing when I put my life on internet. Probably a lot more than the regular person because that is what I work with every single day. With that comes a lot of contract reading because in the GDPR, you also have to have contracts. A lot of them, all over the place. Every time you as a company transfer personal data to another company, you kind of have to have a contract between you guys on how that personal data is going to be transferred. So, what do? A lot of days, I read, review, and negotiate contracts. Most of my day, that is what I do. Now, I don't work in IP law. I especially don't work in Asian IP law. So, I can't get all this is exactly how it is, but I can guess. I have a general idea. So that's what we're going to talk about. What the heck is going on with Cherry Magic? Why is it gone? Why now? Who are to blame? To me, there is only one blame here. GMMTV, you've effed up. You effed up. You mean that the biggest entertainment company in Thailand don't have IP lawyers? You have a freaking music agency. If there is anybody who works a lot with IP, it is the music industry. Come on now. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Even I know that Japanese copyright law is notoriously picky. You need to negotiate to a teeth to get every single detail right. And this is not something you do in 5 minutes, people. It takes years sometimes to get these negotiations in place. And I'm hard pressed to believe that this contract wasn't read by more than one person, a lot of person. This was not something they missed. Follow the money. Follow the money. I liked Sherry Magic episode 1. But from my understanding, I haven't watched episode 2 yet. So, and I didn't check the numbers on YouTube. But from my understanding, the numbers weren't great. Like, it wasn't the success they were hoping for. I can, you know, kind of, if I'm gonna take my tiny knowledge, like, if we're honest, like this kind of knowledge, but at least it's something. It's kind of this knowledge. I'm not pulling it out of thin air, but kind of, but at least with some kind of understanding how this works. Uh, my guess is that yes, they had the rights to put it on YouTube. Of course they did. That's if they forgot to negotiate that, some heads needs to be rolling. GMMTV, you need to fire your entire legal team because yeah, that is not something you just casually miss. No. That's your entire spiel. That is how you get the international fans engaged and you kind of start to rely on us now. We know that. We're not just in the passing anymore. You kind of want to cater to us sometimes. So yeah, that's not something you're gonna miss. Uh-uh. I don't believe that. Not at all. No. You made very clear instruction that that was supposed to be in the contract. And it probably was. The thing is, it cost a lot of money. A lot of money. It's probably costing a lot of money to get both the Thai um, licenses and the international licenses because those, oh, most often you, it depends. And like I said, I am no expert in this. I have like basic knowledge. But in most instances, when you negotiate IP, you negotiate for country or for region. So they can have negotiated for Thailand specifically and then for the rest of the world. And those can be two different brackets. That is why you sometimes see different companies having series for different regions. So some will negotiate for Europe by while another will negotiate for like what's it called? SIA thing in Southeast Asia. And then you have like Japan, because Japan usually is its own thing, from my understanding. You kind of have to negotiate with them separately. Uh, so, yeah. And what you need to understand every country in the world has its own copyright law. The American copyright law is not the world copyright law. Every single country has its own copyright law. That is why it's so complex. That is why you have certain lawyers that divide their entire career at understanding one country's or two countries' copyright laws. And that is why they earn the big freaking monies because their job is to negotiate these kind of deals. That's their entire job. And they worked a lifetime to understand it. It's not just something you casually, do. No. You have to have very specific education to do this. So that someone just missed this? No. And if they did, GMMTV, how can you even be in business? Your legal team is crap. I'm sorry, but it's crap. Fire them if that's the case. I want to see head rolls. Because yeah, that's just not something that would happen, people. No. So what I think happened is the numbers weren't great. It cost too much money to put it out there to the entire world. Thailand, they probably made a calculation that they could bring home the money even if they pay the licenses deals. Most of the investors that they have only care about the Thai audience. They don't care about us because they're not trying to sell products to us. They're trying to sell products to the Thai. So it costs too much money. And somewhere, because a contract is a contract. You can't just break a contract. So somewhere there had to be some kind of, they had to have thought about this when they were negotiating that contract and state a date that after this date, after episode 2 or 3, if we don't see these kind of numbers, we are allowed to take take away the international license so we can cut the cost of licensing this. Otherwise, they wouldn't do this. There is no way. And I know you want to blame the Japanese company because, yes, Japanese copyright law is notorious. Notorious. But if you are going to buy a license for a TV show and your expectation is to put it on YouTube for the world, that is what you go into with the negotiation. That is what you tell them when you start negotiating. That is what you ask. What is the price for X, Y, and Z? That is what you're buying. You're buying a license, and that license is based on what region you want to broadcast it on. That is what the contract is there for. That is the licensing deal. That is not something you casually just miss. There is no way. So, yeah, I just wanted to put that out there because I saw a lot of misunderstandings today and a lot of weird misinformation about this, blaming X, Y, and Z. But there is only one. There is only one. Whoever signed the contract at GMMTV. That's the person who is responsible. And you bet you that was either a lawyer at GMMTV or an executive boss. Or both. Most likely, both. They should have read the freaking contract. You don't sign a contract of this deal magnitude if you don't read it, and if you haven't proofread it, and if you haven't understand it. No. Nuh-uh. Uh. And I know people say that, well, they use the firm. Yeah, but the firm doesn't, the firm has, the rights to negotiate the contract, to set it up. They get certain type of deal. They don't have the right to sign contracts. Not a chance. Mm-mm. That had to be someone at GMMTV. And that person had to at least ask the important question. Is this in the contract? Is this in the contract? Is this in the contract? Is the contract done? Yes. Okay, I will sign. If not, they're not doing their job. And they shouldn't have that job. Yeah. That was my little TED talk. What does this mean? Well, I have deleted my Sherry Magic episode 1 reaction. I haven't gotten around to watch episode 2 yet. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get English subtitles on this now. Because I don't know if it's gonna be, subtitled. So I don't know if I'm gonna continue on Patreon. I don't know if they see the outrage and maybe say, okay, then I guess we're gonna have to pay to get the license back. Maybe. So we might be able to get it back and start reacting to it. I don't know. I don't work at GMMTV. Heck, I'm not even Asian. So, you know, um, I can't tell you what that means for the reactions. Uh, and yeah. Anyway, I know it's, yeah. I've seen some other things about the contract too. Since I haven't read the contract because these are highly confidential, I can't tell you whether it's true. what I do know is, because, yeah, I can tell you this again about contracts. Since this is a manga that was then distributed by a distributor who owned the licenses right, who sold the licenses right to a TV company in Japan and then to a TV company in Thailand. There might be some exclusive deals for the Japanese version, that is the only version that is allowed to broadcast in Japan, probably because that is normal in Japan, from my understanding. Take that with a grain of salt. As I said, I am not an IP lawyer, and I'm definitely not an Asian IP lawyer. But I heard in the grapevine that is pretty common, that if there is a Japanese live adaptation and there is no other live adaptation made so far, they get exclusive rights in Japan. No other versions get to exist in Japan. And from my understanding, the Thai version was not broadcast in Japan. That is probably why. Now, since the manga author also has some, I don't know what the deal is, because some manga authors are employees of a company, some are freelancers who sell their licensings right. I don't know which case this is. If this is a manga author that is a normal employee, and then the case is that everything they create within their employee thing belongs to the company. That is normal world over. If you read your employee contract, that is probably stated. If you work with creating anything, code, yeah, anything. Anything you do on work hours, sometimes even outside work hours, belongs to the company if it's involved in your regular work hours. And you kind of have to have, if you do side projects, you have to have permission from the company. And sometimes you even have to write a separate agreement that this is your IP and not the company's. Patent law. It's blech. But yeah. Um so I don't know what the deal is between, I think it's Square Enix or what they're called, and the author. They probably have a licensing deal where she or he is probably very strict about how they can represent the characters. So if they have any issues, if they see that the author sees that there is some kind of misrepresentation here, I don't like the script, I don't like blah 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 blah, whatever, that might void the licensing deal of the light adaptation as well. I don't know if that's the case because the author has been pretty vocal about, you know, encouraging the Thai adaptation. And sometimes I think it was Patrick who said that, when they signed a license for My Ride, for example, that they signed away more or less their rights. And that is pretty common in Thailand. It works a little bit differently from my understanding between Japanese and Thai. And if I know this, GMMTV should know this. So in Thailand, from my understanding, when you buy the licenses for a book, you buy it and then you can do whatever with it. You could change whatever. You can insert different characters. You could do whatever. That was the case with My Ride. The second couple isn't in the book. It is not his IP, the author's IP. It's because people asked if he could write, a sequel about it. And he said no, because they are not my IP. They are the creation of the screenwriter on My Ride. So those are the production company's IP. I can't write a book about it. Sorry. So that could happen. That could be the case with Cherry Manga author, but it could be the extreme opposite as well. So that we have to remember that as well, that the IP holder could be the author when it comes to how the characters are represented. And if they had issues, But that is why if that's the case, they should have sent the script to the author. They should have invited the author to be there when they produced it. They should, So I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case at all. I'm just putting it out there that that could be something else that's going on. I highly doubt it. I think it's a money issue. Think the numbers, the views weren't just there, unfortunately. And they got scared. Or someone really royally effed up. But yeah, as I said, welcome to my TED Talk. That was 20 minutes of not regular programming. I hope you learned something. I don't know. It was unscripted ramblings because I just got sick of getting weird tweets on my Twitter timeline. Yeah, I'm still calling it Twitter. Sorry, Elon. Um, so yeah, um, that was it. I will talk to you next time. Bye.